Hey guys, Collin from Pokefriends56, and I'm bringing you the second card of the day video. So today's card of the day is, here's the sleeve. I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's Fliptini Victory Star. Now, Fliptini Victory Star, the reason I chose this card was because it got a lot of play during regionals, and the Rails variants especially, and the Eels variants. So what they would do is they would play 4 Paralyzed Dynamos. They would play 1 to 2 Raikou, and they would mainly plan on getting Fliptini out fairly early, and they would just paralyze you. It's like a Vanillix almost. You get to flip 2 coins if you hit 1 heads, you paralyze them. That turned out to be quite remarkable because Darkrai decks would be so fast, Eels decks just couldn't catch up. So what they would do is they would paralyze, and then when they finally got fully set up, they wouldn't have to paralyze anymore, and they'd be ready to attack. Now, this also came in handy especially because most Darkrai variants didn't play Switch. Now, I recommend at least just 1 Switch in every Darkrai variant because, I mean, if you go against that one Excelgor deck or that one, paralyzed deck, that lock deck, you're like endlessly screwed. So I always recommend just 1 Switch in a Darkrai deck, just so you can avoid this. But the whole thing was, it doesn't entirely avoid Fliptini. And we first saw this card way back last city's season when it was being paired with Vanillux. They came out in the same set. They were pretty much destined to be paired together, and that's just how it was. You would use Vanillux to flip 2 coins. If either of them was heads, you paralyzed, and if you failed that, you got to reflip. So you got to basically flip 4 coins. If one of them was heads out of the 4 coins, they were paralyzed. And more often than not, that was exactly what happened. And you would just paralyze your opponent, and then you had Vileplume, so they couldn't play trainers, and so they couldn't use Switch or Full Heal. Not that Full Heal was really being played or anything, but you couldn't really do anything. It just locked you up. The deck actually didn't perform amazingly. It did alright, and it actually picked up some play near the end of the season, and it actually just did remarkable. The deck was called VVV, Vanillux, Vileplume, Fliptini, and it's pretty much, that's in the past now. We lost Vileplume in the rotation, so I don't think that we'll be able to play this deck again because Vanillux, I mean, people can just run Switch now, and it doesn't really help. But this new idea with the Dynamos and the Raikous has really worked out for it, and it's actually being played a lot. I feel that it's going to be the only way you can play an Eels deck now because everything else is just getting a little too fast. It's not necessarily too fast, but it's hitting too hard too fast. Most times Darkrai decks will get, turn 3 or even a turn 2 or turn 1 Night Spear I've seen. And that's just not good. If you're playing Eels, you can't handle a turn 2 Night Spear because you're still getting set up and you still need that whole time, to get set up. And if you're dealing with a turn 2 Night Spear, chances are that person's going to keep using Night Spear. And you can't deal with a 90-30 each turn. It just wrecks your whole field and your whole deck and your whole setup. So being able to paralyze, they can't really set up, they can't junk hunt even, and it just pretty much prevents them from going anywhere forward. The best way to do this is just play a 1 tech in an Eels deck. I might even do a deck breakdown about this. It actually was doing quite well. All the Eels decks that performed well played it, except for the one I think in Ontario, that one. But pretty much, Eels just dominated regionals quite well. It won like 3, and out of the 5, and then the other 2 were Darkrai decks, I want to say. And most of that was just because it was able to paralyze, and most of those were just the ones with Fliptini, I think. And the ones that won weren't the only versions that were out in regionals. We had Rails with just straight Rails with the shiny Rayquaza. We had normal Eels with just Mewtwo's and Zekroms. And really the one that came on top was the one with Fliptini Victory Star. Now, ways this Victory Star Fliptini can be paired with other things. Obviously, it can just be paired with anything that goes with an attack to reflip. Now, I haven't exactly read the ability out loud, and I should always do that at the beginning of the card of the day. And basically, it just states if you do an attack, you can, and it requires a coin flip, and you can redo the coin flip, or redo the full attack, actually. So, say I do a Thunder Wave, I flip Tails, I can do Victory Star Victini, its ability, and I can reflip the whole attack. So that's pretty nice. And that just goes for like any deck that can require paralyzation. It does remarkable in those decks, and it also does well with, I mean, this could almost be a surprise tech into anything that requires reflips pretty much, every turn, Like any card that paralyzes, I could see it with, and that's truly just why it's such a great card. I personally recommend, if you're playing Eels, I personally think, again, that it's the only way to play Eels anymore. The format is just picking up too much speed, and you need Victini. So thanks, guys. That's been today's Card of the Day video. I hope you liked it. I will probably do a Ray Eels with Victini deck breakdown possibly later, so look out for that, just to go along with my Victini Card of the Day. Thanks, everyone, and I'll catch you guys later.